The car. The hallway smelled faintly of disinfectant and something cheap, instant food, maybe. The light flickered as Jungkook climbed the stairs slowly, stopping outside the door he'd seen Taehyung enter. He hesitated, then knocked. The door opened a crack. Taehyung froze when he saw him. Sir? Behind him, the apartment was dimly lit. May I come in? Jungkook asked. It wasn't a request he was used to making. Taehyung stepped aside immediately. Of course. Jungkook's curiosity hardened into concern. The door opened to a small living space filled with the hum of medical equipment. Monitors beeped softly, casting a pale glow over the room. Jimin lay unconscious in the hospital bed corner of the living room, his pale face still but breathing steady. Jae-soo clung to Taehyung, whispering, "Mama, who is he?" "What is this?" he asked quietly. "My brother," Taehyung said. "Jimin." He stepped closer to the bed, fingers brushing Jimin's hand gently. "He's been like this for almost 2 years." Jungkook's throat tightened. "And the child?" he asked. Taehyung looked down. "My nephew," he said softly. "Jae-soo." As if summoned by his name, Jae-soo peeked out from behind Taehyung's leg, clutching his stuffed rabbit. He stared at Jungkook with wide, curious eyes. "Who?" Jae-soo asked. Taehyung crouched. "That's, Appa's boss." "And your sister-in-law?" Taehyung hesitated. She's not well," he said quietly. "She hasn't been able to cope." The words were careful. Jungkook turned away, jaw clenched. Namjoon's words echoed in his mind. "He needs this job." "This," Jungkook said finally, voice low, "is not what I thought." Taehyung nodded. "I know." Silence filled the apartment. Jungkook's mind raced. This was the man he had scorned, humiliated, punished, and yet he was carrying responsibilities. Jungkook couldn't imagine the care of a comatose brother, the upbringing of a small child, the financial and emotional burdens that accompanied both. Jungkook turned toward the door. Before leaving, he paused. "You should have said something." Taehyung shook his head. "No one asked." Jungkook didn't reply. He walked out into the rain, chest heavy, thoughts tangled. For the first time since Taehyung had entered his office weeks ago, Jungkook realized something he didn't want to face. He hadn't been disciplining an incompetent employee. He'd been breaking a man who was already holding himself together with nothing but will. The next morning, the office felt different. He walked into his office and dropped his briefcase onto the desk with more force than necessary. "Coffee?" he called. No answer. He frowned and stepped back out. Taehyung's desk was empty. Not just empty, cleared. His files neatly stacked and labeled. A single box placed beneath the desk. Jungkook's jaw tightened. "Where's Kim Taehyung?" he asked sharply. A junior assistant, startled. Chairman Namjoon asked him to report directly to his office today. Jungkook's chest tightened unexpectedly. "When?" he asked. "This morning, sir." "Of course." Namjoon had acted quickly. Jungkook returned to his office, anger simmering beneath the surface, not the loud, explosive kind, but the sharp, restless tension that demanded release. He sat down, opened his laptop, stared at the screen. Nothing made sense. The coffee cup beside him sat empty and untouched. At 9:30, Namjoon called Jungkook upstairs. Namjoon's office was bright, open, lined with books and framed photographs, achievements, memories, legacies. Taehyung stood near the window, dressed neatly, shoes on, hands folded in front of him. Jungkook stopped just inside the doorway. Namjoon turned. Jungkook. Yes, father. Sit. Jungkook obeyed. Namjoon's gaze was steady. You know why I asked Taehyung to work with me now? Jungkook said nothing. He is capable, Namjoon continued. More capable than you gave him credit for. Jungkook's jaw clenched. And I don't want him to be exhausted, Namjoon added quietly, because someone thought humiliation was an acceptable training method. Jungkook looked at Taehyung then. Taehyung didn't look back. I was correcting inefficiency, Jungkook said. Namjoon shook his head. You were punishing vulnerability. Silence followed. I have decided to hire a new secretary for you. Her name is Jenny. She meets all the criteria you demand. Efficient, intelligent, and will tolerate your temper without complaint. Jungkook's irritation flared. A replacement? He clenched his hands into fists. So he's being removed? No, Namjoon replied, his R voice firm. I have decided to make Taehyung my personal secretary. He will work for me now, and Jungkook, you will see, it is not out of favoritism, but for I won't have him treated like that again. They don't have to face your tendencies. Jungkook remained silent. The sting of jealousy was immediate and confusing. He couldn't deny the pang that twisted in his chest. Was that how his father saw him, as a threat to Taehyung? Kim Taehyung, Namjoon said gently, turning to him. You may go. Taehyung bowed. Thank you, sir. He walked past Jungkook without looking at him. The door closed softly behind him. The sound echoed louder than it should have. By noon, Jenny arrived. She was everything Jungkook had asked for on paper: sharp, efficient, educated abroad, perfectly composed. She handed him coffee without being asked. Black, exactly the way he liked it. Your schedule has been reorganized, she said. I've also reviewed the Hansong projections. Jungkook nodded. Excellent. And yet, the coffee tasted wrong, too bitter. And worse, he realized painfully that he missed Taehyung's presence, the boy's awkwardness, his struggles, his stubborn resilience. It had gotten under his skin in ways Jungkook hadn't expected. He found himself watching the door, half expecting Taehyung to walk in with that flustered smile, that soft apology, and somehow it made his chest tighten. Meanwhile, Taehyung reported to Namjoon. Good morning, Taehyung. Namjoon greeted warmly, handing him a stack of files. I think this arrangement will suit you better. Less stress from Jungkook and more focus on real responsibilities. Yes, sir, Taehyung said, his voice quiet but grateful. Namjoon studied him carefully. You've been doing more than anyone could ask. Your dedication is admirable. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. He stepped out of the car. The hallway smelled faintly of disinfectant and something cheap, instant food, maybe. The light flickered as Jungkook climbed the stairs slowly, stopping outside the door he'd seen Taehyung enter. He hesitated, then knocked. He stayed in the car this time. He didn't knock. He didn't intrude. He just sat there, watching his shadow move behind the curtain, slow, careful, carrying more weight than any man his age should have to. For the first time, Jungkook felt something settle in his chest that wasn't anger. It was heavier, worse, regret. With Taehyung gone from his daily office tasks, Jungkook felt a strange emptiness. Meetings that once annoyed him now seemed hollow. Even Jenny's precision and skill could not replace the subtle chaos that Taehyung had brought into his life, a chaos that had, in some strange way, made his days feel alive. He found himself watching Taehyung from across the room, observing the way he interacted with Namjoon, how he handled pressure with quiet composure, and how the tiniest smile would light up his face. A pang of guilt accompanied this longing. He had treated the man cruelly, punished him harshly, and humiliated him publicly, yet he found himself craving his presence. It was the first time Jungkook acknowledged that his feelings for Taehyung had shifted from mere frustration to something far more complex, a mixture of admiration, longing, and a slowly emerging protective instinct. That evening, Jungkook stayed late, not because he had to, because going home meant silence. At 9, he stood abruptly and grabbed his coat. He didn't know where he was going until he was already there. This time, he didn't park across the street. He stopped directly in front of the building and went inside. Jungkook stood there, rain dampening his hair, coat collar turned up. "I'm not here to scold you," Jungkook said stiffly. Taehyung blinked. Okay." Silence stretched between them. Jungkook glanced past him. The apartment looked the same, but Taehyung looked different. Less hollow, still tired, but standing straighter. "I shouldn't have done what I did," Jungkook said abruptly. Taehyung stared. Jungkook clenched his jaw. "The punishments, the way I spoke to you." Taehyung shook his head quickly. "It's fine. I understand." He stepped out of the car. The hallway smelled faintly of disinfectant and something cheap, instant food, maybe. The light flickered as Jungkook climbed the stairs slowly, stopping outside the door he'd seen Taehyung enter. He hesitated, then knocked. Taehyung hesitated. "I don't know what else to call you." Jungkook looked away. "Jungkook," he said quietly. The name felt strange in Taehyung's mouth. He didn't repeat it. "I won't interfere with your work anymore," Jungkook continued, "and I'll make sure no one else does either." Taehyung's eyes widened slightly. "That's not necessary," he said softly. Jungkook met his gaze, then really looked at him. "You don't know how necessary it is," he replied. From the table, Jae-soo peeked over, eyes curious. "Mama," he called. "Who?" Taehyung turned instantly. "Just someone from work." Jae-soo studied Jungkook seriously. "Boss uncle?" Jungkook stiffened. Taehyung's face flushed. "Jae-soo." "It's fine," Jungkook said quickly. He crouched slightly, meeting Jae-soo's gaze. "Hello," he said awkwardly. Jae-soo tilted his head. "You loud?" Taehyung sucked in a breath. Jungkook huffed a humorless laugh. "That's fair." Jae-soo considered this, then nodded once. "Don't you shout at Mama." The words landed harder than any accusation. Jungkook straightened slowly. "I won't," he said quietly. He looked at Taehyung again. This time, something unspoken passed between them, not forgiveness, but acknowledgement. Jungkook stepped back. I'll go, he said. Taehyung nodded. Good night, Jungkook added, then hesitated. Taehyung. Taehyung looked up. Yes. Jungkook paused, then said, You're not useless, and left.